Hello and welcome to Win Win Women TV. And I am Sam Rafis, your host for Love Brand You. This is a metaphysical show focused on faith, inspiration for you to succeed in all areas of your life. This month's theme is spirituality, and today's show is all about prayer. And as we do every week, let's open with a prayer. So today we start out with, my God source loves me no matter what. I am always lovable and give myself compassion for everything I've ever done or not done. Love heals me more quickly than self-judgment. I choose love now for me and for everyone in my life. For this I give thanks. I let it be so, and so it is. So welcome to Love Brand You. And tonight, when I'm talking about prayer, so what is prayer? Let's start with that. And I'm checking with my notes here. And of course, I've got a page that's stuck. And I am talking about God, Buddha. So anytime that you are communing with God, anytime you're talking about your higher power, or you're communicating your thoughts, your needs, your desires to your higher power. So that's what prayer is. That's what I think it is anyway, in my humble opinion. And what prayer is not. Prayer is not bargaining with God. Prayer is not making demands of God or your source or your higher power, whatever you want to call it. And as I say every week in this show, that I use the term God because I'm comfortable with that. This is a metaphysical show, which means that we just look at God in any way, honoring all faiths, honoring all paths to God, whether you're talking about God, source, Buddha, universe, higher power. So I do use them interchangeably, but often you'll hear me just say God. So whatever you resonate with, then that's what it is. And it's the same thing about prayer. So if you're wanting to talk to your God, and again, it's not necessarily bargaining with God or showing how spiritual you are. Often people will ask me that, well, do I need to pray to be spiritual? And when I'm having those discussions with people, it's like having a thought, even having a thought about help me, or it's not necessarily you absolutely have to say I'm praying. It just could be a thought of something that you want to happen in your life. So why do we pray? And again, it just comes to communing with God, with your source, with your universe, and to feel supported. I think for me, as I was growing up, and I grew up in a Christian faith, I always felt connected to that higher source. I always felt connected to something that could give me comfort. So I didn't really understand it as a small child, but as I got older, I could always tune into, and I always talk about my inner self, or my higher self, my God self. And I always felt connected to some sort of intuition or inspiration from within. So again, why we pray? Let's face it, to manifest things in our life. So if we want a home, if we want a car, if we want a love life, if we want to lose weight, if we want to be healthier, if we want anything to be made manifest in our life, let's face it, like, I don't know about you, but I pray. And there's nothing wrong with praying for something that you want. It's how we pray that actually makes a difference in how it may show up in our lives. And for the sake of tonight's program, I want to I really just want to share three different faiths. So we'll talk about Christian faith because that's where I was raised in. So we'll talk a little bit about types of prayer in the Christian faith. And then because I'm inspired by Buddhism, I wanted to look a little bit into that and share a little bit about that. And then again, because this is based on metaphysics, and this is where my love is at this point in my life, is the whole metaphysical aspect of spirituality. This is where I'll dig deeper into scientific prayer. And this is what we'll spend more time on today, the aspects of scientific prayer and how it can help you. So first of all, Christian faith and different types of prayer. So we've got the prayer of faith, which is really, it's for healing, for belief in the power and goodness of God. We've got prayer of agreement. So praying together, you may have been in groups where you have group prayers or you get together. I've been part of many faith groups as I was growing up, or groups where you might be saying within families, you might be saying within people, you know, when you see prayer requests, you might see them come through social media, or you might have somebody send you a text and say, you know, my family member is ill, you know, can you send prayers their way? Or often on social media, when I'm going through my social media feeds, I'll see different individuals saying, you know, this happened in my life, can you send me prayers? And many times I may not even know that individual. However, because I believe in the power of prayer, I might send them a message and saying, you know, I'm sorry to hear that, my prayers are with you. And I will say a prayer for that individual. And I believe that that prayer is heard by God, by source, universe, as into the whole collective prayer that does go out to that individual. And daily I say those types of prayers in my morning prayers and my evening prayers. So that prayer of agreement. And then the next one that I've got, and there's many, like I could have gone on, you know, probably giving you, I don't know how many examples, but I'm talking about the examples that stood out to me based on my Christian upbringing. So again, prayers of thanksgiving. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, we used to pray at mealtime. We would give thanks for our food. We would give thanks for, I grew up on a farm. We'd give thanks for harvest. Our family prayed about everything and gave thanks daily. The next one I've got here, the prayer of request. So sometimes we're anxious or we're worried, and I'm sure you can think of a few times that there's something that you're worried about, and that is more of a request from God, or to God, I should say. So that type of prayer is more saying, you know what, hey, can you help me out here? I'm worried about this, or I'm anxious, and just, can I have some support here? So that is a prayer of request, when you take your request to God and again, put it in God's hands and not worry about it. And there is prayer of worship. So again, taking it back to my childhood, we pretty much went to church every Sunday, and that's what we did. We went as a family, and I remember talking every week about, you know, we're going to pray and worship, and it was just something that we did. The last one that I've got here for the Christian faith is interceding. So the prayer of intercession, just meaning that you're interceding on behalf of someone. And that could be taken back to the one I was talking about, when people are saying, hey, can you pray for me? And you're praying on behalf of someone else. So those are the few Christian prayers that I'm familiar with and that I'm well versed in, and feel that a lot of my life has been based on those types of prayers. And as I got into studying more about spirituality and metaphysics, and really, I've been doing this my whole life. I just didn't know what it was called when I was studying it or researching it. And one that really spoke to me is the Buddhist faith. And if you've seen on my website and you've seen on my journals, you've seen on lots of my branding, I have a Buddha. And I think I have, at least 3 or 4 Buddhas within my household. I think my daughters, if they don't know what to give me for a gift, they give me a Buddha because they know I'm connected to Buddha. And for me, it is a sense of connection. So in the Buddhist faith, it is about that respect. They have a deep respect for people, for the planets, for animals. And you'll notice how people of the Buddhist faith often pray, and you'll see they'll put their hands to their head, to their neck, and then again to their chest, which is their heart. So they're going bowing, and there is I believe it's 5 times. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they bow 5 times, and they bring their praying hands to their forehead, their throat, their heart, and that is to focus them on the energy of the different chakras, I believe, of the crown, the throat, and the heart. And then they're focused on their speech, action, and intentions. And yes, I have to look down at my notes because I wanted to just make sure and respect their faith, because that is what they focus on, is my speech, my actions, and my intentions in respect of my faith, and in my prayer to enlightened sentient beings, is what they say. And it's not a blind faith. They are practicing their teachings to validate through their daily experience, and then they believe through the practice of the teaching and the daily experience that then their faith comes naturally. So Buddhists pray to Buddha, of course, and there is a longer name that one of them said, and I was trying to get the correct pronunciation of it, and I'm just not going to try at this moment. So basically, they're praying to Buddha and his wisdoms, the monks for their guidance and the wisdom of Buddhism, to their teachers, and their teachers, should I say, to show them the way, and their parents. Every time they pray, they are praying to their parents for giving them life. And I didn't know that. I thought I knew a lot about the Buddhist faith, but when I was doing my research for this show, that struck a chord with me that, yeah, thanks to who brought them here. And then their prayers include wishing every living being in the universe wealth, health, happiness, and peace. And that makes me feel calm. That always makes me feel good when I see that and read that. And it brings me into what I want to spend the most time on today, when I said at the beginning that we'll talk about 3 different types of prayer. And I would want to spend the most time on scientific prayer, which is what we talk about in metaphysics. So with scientific prayer, we are focused more on the mind. So our conscious mind and then the unconscious mind. So it's utilizing the mental and spiritual laws to synchronize the conscious and the unconscious, or subconscious and subconscious mind, to pray in a scientific way. And then you receive that, what you're praying for. So whether it's love, whether it's health, whether it's wealth, whether it's, you're looking for your divine purpose, you can use scientific prayer to help tell you what it is that you're really searching for in your life. So your conscious mind, what you're aware of every day. So you're walking around, you're thinking, you're talking, your everyday thoughts. So you're consciously aware. And then, of course, your subconscious mind is not necessarily what you're aware of. However, it's like that. It's that background. It could be like the computer programming. It's often alluded to. So it's your subconscious mind that you're not necessarily aware of. However, it is running 24/7 and it governs all the functions of your body. And I just want to read this part because I wrote it out, you guys. And I feel like I know this stuff inside out. Yet when we're talking about the subconscious mind, I just want to make sure that I'm saying it the way that I want it to come across. So the subconscious mind is your thoughts, your feelings, and your beliefs, and it acts as a memory bank. So everything that is path. I did this last week too, the S, that everything that's passing through your conscious mind. So it goes into your subconscious mind. And then as you are sleeping, that's where all the programming takes place behind the scenes. So whatever you are thinking, believing, acting during the day in your consciousness, you're feeding to your subconscious mind. Then at night, it's programming your subconscious mind. Then you could say the next day or weeks or I mean, this is lifetime. This is lifetime programming. And we can think we've had some of this programming since we were kids, that we have those unconscious programs that are running in our mind. So the unconscious in turn feeds what you're consciously thinking about and believing, and well, basically your thoughts and your beliefs. And if you think about that, beliefs that you hold that other people don't hold, or vice versa, it is only a belief. It's not necessarily 100% true. It's that what you believe to be true. And that is coming from that subconscious programming. So two underlying beliefs that are two underlying principles for scientific prayer. And this is where if you deeply go into the Bible, and some people believe that the Bible is literal, that it's literal stories, and these are things that have happened in the past. And whether you believe that or not, there is still a metaphysical side to the Bible. And so I'm speaking of the metaphysical meaning of these two underlying principles of scientific prayer. So to get a little bit deeper here, let's just start with the first one. Comes from Proverbs 23:7, and it says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he," or she. So as a woman thinketh in her heart, so is she. And the heart just means your subconscious mind. So from a metaphysical point of view, so metaphysical just means above and away. So above the physical. And the heart is your subconscious mind. So what you really believe about yourself and your life is reflected in your attitude and actions. So I'll leave you with that for a second. We'll come back to it. And the second principle is coming to us from Mark 11:24. Ask, believe you have already received, and you shall receive. And in theory, it seems, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. However, with everything that we want to make manifest in our life, or everything that we pray about, let's just face it, some things are easier said than done. And I don't know about you, but in my life, there are some things that come very easy for me and easy prayers. And then there's other things that are not so easy. So ask and believe you have already received, and you shall receive. So you have to know what you want and believe or see. So seeing is believing. Yourself as having it before you can actually receive it. And I'll give you two of my own examples. So two of my personal examples. I believe that I'm healthy. There's nothing that, when it comes to my health, absolutely throughout my life, anything that I wanted to have happen with my health, whether it be let's weight loss. You know, women, lots of us, that might be one of our struggle points. But again, because I came from a holistic nutrition and health background and had studied that for a long time in my life, and that was one of the things that I grew up with. So it was instilled in me, healthy habits. So anything health wise, I 100% believe it. I can pray about it and I can manifest anything health wise. Where on the other hand, if you take it to wealth, let's just say if I was going to say I am wealthy, that one is more of a wobble for me. And if you were to look at it on a grid, I mean, my health one is solid. I'm solid. There's nothing I need to worry about. Where in my lifetime, because my wealth and my finances have been up and down, and I'm at this point in time, I'm not worried about it per se, because if I say to myself, am I in the process of being wealthy? Absolutely. I believe that statement. However, I do know that subconsciously I have more to work on when it comes to wealth. And ladies, I'll be honest with you, again, relationships. When it comes to my love life and my wealth, I'm not as solid, and I'm subconsciously have more to deal with or work out. Where the health part, let's see what else, well-being, anything surrounding my health, or anything surrounding my children, anything surrounding my friends, anything surrounding my business colleagues, I'm good. But the health and love life, that's where I wobble a bit. So when I am praying, I'll just give you an example. I'm affirming that I already believe that I'm healthy. I believe it. I don't need to spend time on it. And where I'm going with this, when it comes to scientific prayer, we have to instill it in our subconscious mind. And we can't, and I know sometimes people will say to me, well, you know what, if I just say some affirmations, if I just affirm that, that's going to happen. Well, you can affirm all day long. However, in your heart, remember when I said it at the other, as a woman thinketh in her heart, then so is she. Your heart is your subconscious mind. And you guys know, or you ladies know what I'm talking about, because you know when you feel solid. You know in your heart when you feel solid that you're good to go no matter what it is. You could be on the flip side of me. Maybe some of you, when it comes to money and your finances, you're 100% solid, and it comes to your health, you're maybe not as solid. Each of us have different subconscious patterns that happen in our life. So for me, in order to get my subconscious on the same track for me, working with my conscious mind, so my subconscious affirmative prayers, which are for me, my prayers are before I go to sleep at night. When I first wake up in the morning, it's that meditation ritual and the prayer and the intention for the day. But when it comes to the evening, before I go to sleep, because this is where you're programming your subconscious mind. So the most effective time to do affirmative prayer, scientific prayer, is either during meditation or especially when you go to sleep at night. Because think about it, if you're having a really good sleep and you've implanted a really good affirmative prayer, then that is what you're going to sleep on, and that's what's running in your mind during the night. So I've got my track right now for my affirmative prayer. Before I go to sleep, I am receiving. I am receiving now. I am receiving all the wealth that the universe has for me now. And I just keep repeating that. It's like the subliminal tape or the subliminal message that I go to sleep on. And that is that's what I do when I'm working on whether it's any area of my life. And I've talked about in previous weeks the 6 areas that I focus on when I'm working with anyone, health, spiritual, well-being, career, financial, and relationships. So whatever area that I am focusing on, because I find personally, whatever I'm praying about, that if I take some time and intentionally focus on one area. So it might be this month, I'm focusing on that wealth affirmation to implant it in my subconscious. And then I will say an affirmative release prayer to go, okay, you know what? I've focused on this for a while. I've prayed on this for a while. Now it's time to let it go, and saying an affirmative prayer of release to go, okay, God, it's up to you. I've implanted it. I know you've got it. And that's where, what I said before about I might 100% believe in my health, but my wealth, I'm not as 100%. So if I say, okay, God, I know that I'm in the process of attracting my wealth and you've got me, that you've got it handled, that's a statement I can 100% believe. So hopefully you can understand the different part of what I mean about that. So your action steps for this week are take your most dominant beliefs. And so what you, let's see, okay. So your most dominant beliefs are what you manifest in your life. So we've talked about that. And this week, I want you to tune into your subconscious thoughts and beliefs. And then what can you do during the day to deliberately guard your conscious thinking? So what can you say to yourself when you know during the day that you are consciously thinking something that you don't want? Because when we have what we don't want, we know what we do want. So guard your conscious thinking, and then think of what you can implant in your subconscious mind as you drift off to sleep. So that's my tip for you. And each week, I try to find a quote from one of my favorite female metaphysicians. And I follow a lot of men, but because this show is focused on women, I'm really focused on finding my favorite metaphysical women authors. And today it's from Catherine Ponder, who wrote The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity. And her quote for today is, I have unshakable faith in the perfect outcome of every situation in my life, for God is in absolute control. And you could say God, you could say your higher power, whatever your source is, she is in control. So our higher power, if we give it over to our source, it's done. And so that's why we always say in our affirmative prayers, which, I'll read to you here. My closing affirmation for today: I call forth into the center of my mind, to the God of the universe, that healing energies radiate new positive thought patterns into my subconscious mind. I give thanks, I am heard, and so it is. And that's what we do in affirmative prayer. We affirm that so it is.